This is a presentation of DirecTV, exclusive home of the Red Zone channel, the Fantasy Zone, the Dan Patrick Show, 20 years of NFL Sunday Ticket, the Rich Eisen Show, and America's premier source for sports television.
Thank you for your call. In short, yes, of course, I had several calls out to the backroom guys asking for man cave area samples. Fartgate 2014 cannot and will not be swept under the rug, not on box score Billy 44's watch. Listen, I'm not one to get wrapped up in conspiracy theories of any kind, but am I the only one who's figured this out? It's Bob Costas. It's no secret, Bob got pink eye while doing the Olympics in Sochi. And how do you get pink eye? A swift fart onto the pillow. That's how. And who was in Sochi with Bob? Dan, that's who. And who gets gassy when they eat Petrushka? Dan does. That's who. Dan farts on Bob's pillow. Bob gets pink eye. Bob vows revenge. Bob hides under the floor of the man cave overnight and farts through the floorboards when Dan walks over him. Bob lets Dan take the blame and then laughs as he watches DP's Emmy stock plummet. Shame on you, Mr. Costas. The people of Box Score Nation will not stand for this. And they'll find out all about it on the Box Score, which starts right now.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Power College for Box Score.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles, joined by the Danettes out in Milford, Connecticut, Fartgate. We'll get to that much later in the show. You guys covered a wide range of topics during the show today. Paula, you seem to be a little bit more engaged in debate with DP. Was that just you trying to direct traffic of the show?
No, a little bit, Brock, but it's more there's a couple things I felt good about today. Sometimes I'll sit and hear a topic and hear the other guys talking, and I don't have a lot to add except for maybe pressing in a direction. But this was more my personal opinion on like the SEC or I think there was a couple other topics. But we did have like 8 really fun topics, sports topics today, and that's kind of a good thing because, you know, there wasn't any drama last night per se. There's some decent topics out the baseball, but you know what? As long as Dan's engaged on the topics, that means they're good.
Well, you got to run a show, but you were also trying to run a sports book today because you took some action with DP on who would have a higher scoring average, Chris Bosh or your boy Kevin Love.
All right, so I get Bosh. How many points per game will you spot me?
Love averaged 26 last year. Bosh averaged 16.
Yep.
I'll give you Chris Bosh and 2.2 points per game.
Give me 2.5, and you got a deal.
2.4 is my go. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it. I think it needs to be 2.5.
2.5, I'll give you 2.5.
All right, 2.5 for dinner for the entire staff.
Oofa.
Wine included.
Oh, no. No, I know you.
Yeah!
I'll go any steakhouse if you just drink pitchers of beer.
Well, okay.
Honestly, I think Vegas would get Bosh. It'd be an even line, right? Because Bosh is going to go up and Love is going to go down.
Each guy would have to come down 5. Bosh would have to go up 5 points, and Love would have to go down 5 points. That's pretty extreme. A couple problems I had there. I should have worked in rebounding as well, because, you know, Love would dominate. But, you know, Dan's been running these tall stiffs at me and Kevin Love for years. Remember when he tried to run Andrew Bynum at me and Kevin Love? Didn't work. Now he's going Chris Bosh, trying to bring out some guy who's way over the hill, not an upcoming young star. So Kevin and I are going to be just fine. Kevin and I are going to eat dinner on Dan's tab again.
I ran Blake Griffin at you, and everybody laughed me out of the building and continued to for 3 years until Blake Griffin finished 3rd in MVP voting last year.
I thought Paulie was going to be more stubborn than that. 2.2, and then all of a sudden it's 2.4.
Yeah, that was just you guys were negotiating terms there because it should be an even bet. It really should.
Actually, to be fair, when we brought this topic up before the show, I was so confident I should have said a thing. I said, oh, I'll take Love and give you 2.5 or 2 points or 2.5. So Dan knew he kind of had me. I wouldn't do well on Shark Tank with those negotiation skills.
Aren't you pretty confident that 2.5 points will decide the bet? Like,
yes.
Love is going to win by 1 point. I guarantee you that.
Well, here's what the problem is if there's an injury, because those stats end when the injury happens. We didn't say, because if Chris Bosh plays 9 games and tears an ACL, I'm not rooting for that, but he averages 23 points a game, that stands. So, but the thing is with the wine, Brock, that was a veteran maneuver by me.
I was going to say, Paulie, don't underestimate your negotiation skills there because you sidestepped that wine mine, which was a doozy.
Yeah.
That's easily another $700-800 added to the tab there because if Dan, he'll go big. He'll drop a couple hundred on a bottle of wine or something, or a few bottles of wine, and you're like, dang, dude, this is going to get real ugly.
Right. I'm basically on the hook for half a dinner.
All of a sudden, Fritzy's going 2 glasses, maybe 2 plus glasses. It gets
I'm a drinker
real
now.
ugly.
Yeah. Well, hopefully there will be some type of football game on it. Fritzy will not come to dinner, so that's one less to buy for.
Are you kidding me? The dinner on you?
Actually, wait.
Dinner on me.
He's been waiting his whole life for that.
Fritzy be doing like Irish car bombs.
I was going to go now and just wait for you guys.
Let's be honest.
See you in a few months.
The back row is not contributing much to that final bill on the wine night. Basically, Molly Paps doesn't go to college if you open up wine.
Yeah, but McLovin, you're a notorious appetizer hog.
Oh, dude.
Fritzy is a
you like to do
notorious
the
dessert
mine,
order.
and you guys could share the other ones. But
Dude,
this one's
everybody went hog wild on apps at the last dinner.
Oh, it was
and
wild
I
scene.
laid back. I could not. My eyes almost popped out of my head with what you guys ordered.
I went lobster cocktail, and I thought it might be the end of my
Wait a minute,
career.
I thought you were the big man ordering for the table.
I
All of a
was.
sudden,
I didn't
you're
know
not
you
taking
guys
credit
had
for
all
the
the steaks
well,
all
you guys went crazy. No, you told us what to get.
No, I know. I got all this food, and then every single person ordered lobster and crab and caviar.
There were
I was
a
like,
lot of
what?
lobster tails.
We threw in
What is going on here?
Me and Steve, we threw in some baked potatoes. All of a sudden, there's broccoli and creamed spinach and stuff flying.
Oh, I know.
Fritzy orders shared, you know what, not what do they call them? Side orders with your entrees. And they're supposed to be kind of like a 3 or 4 man, but he ordered like steamed broccoli and baked potato. But he ordered it and he kept it right in his
Paul had
quadrant
to
here.
remind me. It's like, you might want to pass that around. That really
But
that's
the
not
meal was
just
over
for you.
and it still hasn't been passed around.
I can't have this. Not just for me.
Paulie did point out, don't get the steamed broccoli near me, though. You want to know.
Oh, God, it maybe it's sick.
This might be a loaded potatoes question, but Fritzy, are you rooting for Paulie to get a wheel of punishment, or is free food more important to you?
Definitely the free food. I don't like seeing any of the guys have a wheel of punishment unless it's something really, really something that will embarrass them and humiliate them for a long period of time. But yeah, for the free food, I'll usually show up about an hour and a half ahead of time for the pregame shows, kind of scout the place out, take a look at the menu in advance, see what the prices are. Usually go to the ones that say MP for the pricey market price stuff. So yeah, that'll be a good time with a nice big free
hopefully
meal.
this bet concludes on during an eclipse, because then Fritzy will be there. That's about how often he comes to dinner with us.
Not necessary.
Well, you guys should be able to afford a nice meal with
I'm blowing them off tomorrow night because of the Bronco game.
Okay. You guys should be able to afford a nice meal with all these Aaron Says Relax shirts flying off the racks. See, what are the numbers looking like these days?
Oh, boy, I can't even keep track. They're going well, though. Really, really well. So that's pretty cool.
Could you be a little more specific?
I'm going to guess it's probably somewhere around 1,700.
Oh, my God.
2,000. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, if you thought 1,700 was an impressive number, I think you're going to get a little bump in sales after this from Mike and Mike.
Mark Teixeira, slugger, for the Yankees, was on the popular Mike and Mike show this morning. He was asked about how worried the Royals should be, the Royals fans. Mark Teixeira told Mike and Mike they should just get one of those Aaron Rodgers Relax shirts. Back to you.
Oh, snap. So we do have those Aaron Says Relax t-shirts.
Should we send a box of them to the Royals and to Mark Teixeira and, of course, to Aaron Rodgers?
And to Mike and Mike.
Yes.
Great. I love it. Everybody's hopping on the bandwagon, especially to have a guy in pinstripes unknowingly sort of pimping the shirt. That's great.
Yeah, it's great that the I-Team, we have moles everywhere. We have moles in the ESPN radio newsroom, literally. And so it's great to get that kind of information when you're doing the show.
Well, staying with shirts, McLovin, how did you and Seton end up wearing the exact same shirt today?
Finally, somebody noticed. We didn't get one tweet where it was an obscure reference on Facebook. We're shirt buddies, and no one said anything.
I tried to mention it during a look-in. It didn't get a lot of traction.
Funny thing is, we knew this day was going to come because we both like this particular Red Hook brand flannel. So it was inevitable.
And on another date and time, this probably would have led the show somehow. Like both shows, actually, the Dan Patrick Show and the Box Score. But now we're just so accustomed to, like, I don't know, is it clothes humor? Was it just a busy day today?
I know, we're all wearing flannel. We're all in Wisconsin flannel most of the season.
I'm kind of jealous, and I'm hoping someday Fritzy and I can wear the same outfit. If I could dig up a 2002 JCPenney olive drab plaid shirt, we'll be in business.
It's going to be very difficult for you to match what I got in my closet.
You got to match. Everyone's got to match. Coming up, we will see if Dan Patrick can match the Lakers star Kobe Bryant's intensity. We'll ask the guys. Welcome back to the box score. Kobe Bryant, a topic of conversation today, and he is an intense presence for sure. Fritzy, would you say Dan's intensity matches that of Kobe's?
I would say it does, maybe even more. I haven't had the opportunity to be that close to Kobe to know what he's like in the locker room or on the court, but you know, I would put jaw face and some of Dan's moves, even though the overwhelming majority of the time he's quite pleasant and singing silly songs and coming up with his own lyrics. But every once in a while, when he gets in one of those kind of moods, Dan can be difficult. I'm sure we could all be difficult, but yeah, I'll put Dan up against Kobe.
You've really been calling out Dan's moodiness.
Brock, I'm going to jump in with this one. Back in maybe 05 or 06, PTI was on, and I was in a control room just bringing some papers to somebody, and they were getting ready to tape a PTI, and Kobe was talking to Wilbon and Kornheiser. This is before he goes on, and Wilbon said something like, "Oh, this guy is coming after you." He's talking about some young player like Ray Allen. I don't know who it was. And Kobe just goes, "Oh, tell that MFer that he better come in." And it was just a casual conversation with Wilbon. He goes, he would come at me, and he's just lighting this guy up. And they're laughing, and it kind of didn't make the air, but Kobe was, "MF, this, I'm gonna kill this kid." He goes, "Tell him if he Wilbon, you pass a message. If he wants to say something to me, we'll do it on the court when I drop 55 on him." And I was like, wow, this guy is just in a casual conversation with two hosts.
Dan, when he talks about competition, isn't exactly friendly. He's mentioned he will kill many people in this industry.
I don't know if it's the intensity is exactly the same, but it's definitely, there's a lot of similarities there.
Yeah.
Whenever professional athletes have that little thing that drives them to be great and that certain intensity, Dan definitely does.
And Dan's either all in or not in whatsoever.
Yes.
He either does, like if you tell him something, and it could be almost anything, he either cares 1,000% or not even 1%. So I mean, and it could be anything from like, "Hey, should we all get red shoes for the show?"
Or the
He'll be
Kardashians.
like, "Oh, we got to get red shoes, and I got to call our bosses. We're gonna have red shoes." Or he goes, "Why the hell do I care about red shoes?"
Yeah.
You don't know from minute to minute in this room what Dan's gonna care 1,000% about.
Yeah, and also when Dan's sort of talking trash about somebody in the business, that he's not like, "Oh, I'm going to work really hard and beat him in the ratings." He's like, "I am going to stab him in the back in front of his children and kill him." Basically, I mean, I'm telling you behind the veil.
Paraphrasing.
Well,
Not in front of his children, just stabbing him.
Yes, he will stab.
Yes.
He's a very stabby guy.
Away from the
sometimes.
children.
Okay, I don't know if Kobe Bryant's going to stab anyone, but Kevin Ding called in today and talked about how he has evolved as a teammate and a leader.
The idea that Kobe's the same old Kobe who just beats people over the head and tries to get them to play harder. That's not an accurate narrative of how he has evolved. I mean, in so many ways, he has taken the lessons that Phil taught him and just has stolen them, as he'll steal stuff if it's effective. He just takes it and runs with it, and he's figured out you got to push buttons for guys different ways. It can't always be just my way or the highway, roll through guys, and he has done that, and it's accurate to say that of all the guys that he's played with in recent years, Dwight is the only one who really had issues with him.
Yeah, that article, I think we all kind of had a problem with it. We're not Laker beat writers or columnists or anything like that, but from everything we've heard and from some of the writers that I spoke with yesterday, including Kevin, who agreed to come on the show today, even in speaking with Chris Mannix, it seemed like this was way off base. There was a lot of anonymous sources to the story, and the picture that's being presented of Kobe seems, if not completely inaccurate, at least unfair to a certain extent, that he's driving top free agents away and that he's impossible to play with and have as a teammate, and his ego scared, potential teammates from joining the Lakers. So I'm interested to see if there's going to be anything more that comes out of that. But I think Kobe got smacked around way too hard in that Henry Abbott ESPN piece.
See, I can believe some of it, though. I think, his ego probably is huge. Like, Michael Jordan's ego was huge, man. If you miss a shot with Jordan, remember, he would give you the stare of death. I think there's a lot of that going on.
Kobe's been to more NBA Finals than Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. I mean, this guy is one of the most successful athletes in history, any sport, anything. So the means he uses to get there, don't you give him a lot of leeway? Like, I even look at some of the, myself, sometimes I could be a little bit jerky, but if it works, okay, it may not be as pretty. Do you want some soft guy running your franchise or some soft guy as your leader on the court? Some nice, polite guy? Where's the article about LeBron couldn't get anyone to play with him in Cleveland? Now, it's not about his personality, it's different, but I think Kobe's an easy target because he's hurt and he's on his way out in the next couple of years.
I don't understand, though, why. Now, I don't know Kobe Bryant personally, but I've had a couple of interactions with him, and he was always super nice to me. which I don't know why the star athlete always gets this rep of being a really bad guy, or a bad teammate, or a bad person, or a bad player, or whatever. Any allegations aside, whatever. There's been a lot of like super great guys, like, oh, this is the best teammate ever, that have been a total a-hole to me in interactions too. So it's like, wait, I thought you were supposed to be the good guy, but then the bad guy was actually really nice to me. I think that most of the time media people I don't know if they have an agenda or what, but you really don't get a real look into people through the media's eyes.
Except for the show.
Except for this show. Well, it's intense people out there. Stink around. We bring Fartgate to a dramatic conclusion.
I go right here, and then I'm stunned, but I fight through it.
I kept going through.
I fight through it.
You left your door open, which we all know causes a
I was
major
over there
draft
for
in
like
here.
3 minutes.
You may have been just
I
bombing your
was over
side
there
of
for
the
3
room,
minutes.
and now it's finally
Nice
sneaking
try.
in.
Welcome back to the Box Score. We just saw Seton trying to blame Dan for that colostomy cloud that he walked into the other day. Seton, you've been pointing fingers left and right. Are you ready to bring this drama to an end here on Box Score?
I wish I could. I don't have any further details. I think at first it's like an episode of Law and Order where it sort of set me up to think that Paul was the guilty party. I'm actually pretty sure right now that it's Dan.
Okay, well, here's the event in question for those who forgot. Paulie got up to walk over to the touchscreen, walking kind of funky there, and then you see Dan walking back through it here, and it hit him right away. Oh, there's Seton doing something suspicious. McLovin, you were the closest to the traffic area. Bam, it hits him right there. McLovin, with your increased hearing, since your eyesight's a little bit poor, were you able to hear any flatulence at that point?
Brock, I have to report I did not hear anything.
I did not.
I've had these headphones. When you're in the radio business long enough, your hearing goes way down. But actually, there's a little bit of misnomer. I am not that close to the contaminated area. The contaminated area is focused closer to a little bit to the right. So there's a lot of debate about which direction it originally came from.
There's a lot of other things going on here, Brock. It's reminiscent of the Nixon tapes during Watergate. There's a huge gap in the middle, and who knows what happened in that 4-second gap. Also, I'm going to harken it back to Dealey Plaza, 63. If there was an open mic on that cop's motorcycle that picked up the sounds of the shots, if McLovin, who never has his mic on, had his mic open, we know exactly when the incident went down. So McLovin's mic being off per usual hurt the case.
Paul, you bring up an interesting point. A second gunman.
Right, a second tutor.
A second
gunman. Maybe a party that hasn't even been introduced yet.
Fritzy, notoriously quiet.
I have
not yesterday.
Yeah,
Gastrological.
Yeah, I'd like to think that probably a little nervous giggle would have come out of me, and if it was really bad enough to actually take credit for something like that. So yeah, I can honestly say. I can honestly say, look directly at you that I had nothing to do with the.
We're not a big bunch of
passing.
farters in the studio.
No.
Now that I think back, there really hasn't been a lot of fart humor except for McLovin doing push-ups.
Well,
this
is great. This is an awkward one. No one's really broken the fourth wall of gaseous emissions here. Because once someone does it, then it's open season.
It is.
And no one has been the first guy to go audible, except for Dan doing his back cracking.
But that was more back at the.
It sure was. Dan's cleaned it up since we're now in a public space.
Wait. So Dan used to do that at ESPN. The back.
Oh, dude.
Did you guys talk about the back cracking thing all the time?
He would be like, "Oh man, my back is killing me," and you wouldn't hear anything, and then 5 seconds later you'd hear, like, "Oh, there we go, I'm better." What, dude? Oh, my back is
actually
better.
In the ESPN book, there was a thing about him and Steve Levy used to have contests.
I can believe that. Dan probably won.
He's a world class. Yeah. He's the Kobe Bryant.
Well, without the help of thermal imaging, we went back and looked at the tape, and with a little help from Twitter, we found Seton making this face. It appears to be the epic fart face that we're all familiar with. Seton, it looks like we caught you red-handed. Any explanation for yourself, sir?
What is
I
that
don't know how you
expression?
defend yourself there.
And then I did
Yes.
I mean, unless you're covering for a friend, I don't know what's going on.
I want to plead temporary insanity, and I'm not answering any more questions until my
Brock,
lawyer.
can you bring that picture back up? We really need that one. The jury would like to recall some evidence. I mean, this
Some
is
kind of Popeye fit. I don't know. He needs a little
If
Popeye
you can
pipe.
pan down, I don't know if you can. There's got to be a leg lift going.
You know, right? The part that you're missing actually in there is this.
There's got to be a leg lift.
It's actually, I can see
Some
you
kind of pseudo Heisman gas thing.
Are you clutching a lighter in your right hand right behind there just to show off for your friends?
There's a lot.
I got my legs actually.
Brock, I don't think this is over. I think we got a couple more days in this.
That is a strange expression.
There's a cameraman pulling your finger right in front of there, too, I believe.
Fritzy, I want to go to you on this one. Can you please set the new fart protocols for the man cave?
I think as soon as you let one loose, you need to acknowledge it and just announce it to everyone that it's happened so we don't run into these problems. As entertaining as it is to try to figure out who the culprit is and playing like some type of a fart game or Clue, I think the easiest thing would just be, by the way, if anybody catches something in the next few seconds, that was me, and then we can
You mean a
move
prequel?
forward.
You call your shot?
Yeah,
Just in
either
case.
right before you're going to do it or as you're doing it or within seconds after you do it, it is incumbent upon
But where's the
on the
like
person to
suspense
say they did it.
internal danger of like, am I gonna get away with this one?
Should we
or am
wear-
I gonna get snagged?
You do lose the Mr.
Should we
Mystery does go
should
away.
we wear a second mic? One right here in the chest area and one on the clip of the jeans, perhaps? Just to clear up these.
I don't know if this is fair that Fritzy's putting down these rules. He goes scorched earth in the back room and dominates that whole area.
It would, you know, you would pretty much be
Fritzy
blaming
Shima.
me all the time. So,
Oh, con cuidado, El Baño. Okay, still to come. Dan does what he does best, hand out punishment. Oh. Welcome back to the box score. Paulie got busted for not closing the door again. Not like a Fritzy situation in the back, but it was the box. And he made you take another lap, but this time we had the cameras rolling. Have you learned your lesson yet?
Obviously not. You know, I really don't care at all about closing that box door, and I only do it to, I don't know, to pacify Dan. But this could be a new thing for me. I've never really run before, and it's not that bad. It's probably about 220 yards, I think, the entire circle. And it was a sprinkle. There was a drizzle in the air, so it was tough. But I think I may do it on purpose twice a week to really get my cardio up.
This your new exercise regimen? Leaving the door open? How to lose 5 pounds in a week?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could sell it or anything because I don't think I
write a
don't.
book on that.
I don't. If you work on a show with a host who gets upset about a door being open 1 inch, then you're all set.
Well, Paul wasn't the only one who caught Dan's wrath. McLovin, you took a barrage of flinch balls during that last look-in. Why'd the boss start taking target practice at you?
Dan throws a football around, and Dan has like Jeff George's arm. It's unbelievable if you don't know it. So I bragged and said I could catch one, and I think Dan wanted to put me in my place.
He also has Jeff George's judgment. Look at what he's throwing at people's
he
heads.
starts getting hyper sometimes too. Like as the show is winding down and he's loosening up, and he just feels the need to start gunning balls at McLovin.
Well, we kind of figured the boss might be hurling balls at you because he looked into the future and saw you tanking the 3 worst entertaining NBA teams.
I'm building up suspense. Number 30, your Indiana Pacers. That's mean.
Okay.
29, the Philadelphia 76ers.
You don't go 30 then 29. You go 28, 29, 30.
You know, now you tell me. Great.
Started at the end?
Yeah. Instead of going, and the least entertaining team in the NBA.
What if the NBA did the draft lottery like this? Here's the number 1 pick. Now let's go to 2 and 3.
Oh, I can't wait to see who gets 5.
And what you've all been waiting for, the number 28 most entertaining team in the NBA. The Orlando Magic.
All righty. Thank you, McLovin.
Is that a great segment, or is that me setting McLovin up to fail and piling on air? Who knows?
No, that was Dan getting his guesses wrong and being upset and taking it out on me because he guessed it's like, I'm going to go with the Phoenix Suns, and they were like number 16 on the list.
I like how we rolled out, and the third to least entertaining team, is is the magic.
I think we're going to bring that one back, maybe at least once a year.
The troublesome thing about that was like, it was just some dude's opinion, just some guy in a basement.
It wasn't a poll
like, there was
of
nothing
millions
like,
of people.
no, this guy put this, so there was nothing quantitative about it. It did not work out well.
Okay, Fritzy, who is on tomorrow?
Brady Quinn will join us of Fox Sports to talk some college and pro football. Rich Eisen of the NFL Network will join us as well. We may hear from John Miller, broadcaster for the San Francisco.
Rich Eisen of the Audience.
Of the Audience channel.
Yes, who precedes us.
His own, got his own show now.
Thanks for watching The Box Score. Set your DVR or tune in weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, only on Audience Channel 239, or catch our podcast available on iTunes or at podcast1.com. Cheers, guys.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey! Thanks for watching The Box Score. Holy cow!
This was a presentation of DirecTV, exclusive home of the Red Zone channel, the Fantasy Zone, the Dan Patrick Show, 20 years of NFL Sunday Ticket, the Rich Eisen Show, and America's premier source for sports television.